Hello everybody, today we're talking about preventing foodborne illness. So to start out, what is foodborne illness? It's any illness that results from eating contaminated food. Foods that are contaminated with harmful bacteria or viruses that you ingest and then cause you to become sick. Contamination can happen anywhere from the farm where it's produced, through the factory, through to the preparation of the food to your table. So you definitely, if you're educated and can make sure that you prevent that as much as possible, it can reduce your risk of becoming sick. There's millions of cases of foodborne illness every year in the United States. Again, it's something that is preventable if you can reduce your risk by handling your food correctly. Symptoms of foodborne illness include diarrhea, vomiting, upset stomach, nausea. A lot of times your body reacts to that food that's in your system, and so once your body wants to get rid of that, get it out of your system, and that's the way that it happens. Sometimes it seems like with foodborne illness, once that food is out of your system, all of a sudden you feel better. So with mild cases, you can stay home, you feel kind of lousy, but you drink plenty of fluids, get plenty of rest, and you feel better within a couple of days. If the symptoms become severe, you want to see a doctor. So things that you really need to watch for is a high fever that just won't go away, or dehydration with the vomiting and diarrhea of your body trying to get rid of that contaminated food. Sometimes it becomes hard to keep anything down, and if you're becoming dehydrated, you again won't want to see the doctor. A lot of cases are mistaken for the flu. They are just symptoms that are related to the flu. So there are a lot of people who don't even realize that they have foodborne illness. They really think they just had the flu. Types of foodborne illness: you have Salmonella, E. coli. Those are both ones that you'll hear in the news when it comes to outbreaks. Botulism is the one that tends to be the most severe. It's most likely to be fatal even in a healthy person because it attacks your nervous system. Campylobacter and Shigella are all types of foodborne illness. And there's others. Those are just some of the major types that we're going to highlight. High-risk populations are populations that are more likely to have severe cases. It's going to be harder for them to deal with the foodborne illness. So it'd be people over 65. Children under 5 are still developing their immune system, and so it can be really hard on them to have foodborne illness. Pregnant women, again, can affect the baby. And anyone with a weakened immune system, so maybe there's a medical condition that they have that makes their immune system weaker and harder to fight off illnesses. So the big thing about foodborne illness is trying to reduce your risk. If you can keep your food safe, it helps so that you don't come down with foodborne illness. And so there are 4 steps to food safety, and we'll talk about each a little bit more. But the 4 steps are clean, separate, cook, and chill. So let's start with clean. Clean, you want to wash your hands frequently. Definitely when you're cooking, before you start cooking, wash your hands. If you touch raw meat, you want to wash your hands frequently. The more you wash your hands, the less chance you have of transferring bacteria from one food to another. Dishcloths should be washed in the hot cycle of your washing machine. So whether it's the towel that you've been using to dry your hands or the towels that you use to dry dishes, those should all be washed in the hot cycle to help kill bacteria to prevent it from spreading later on. Fruits and vegetables should be washed under running water to get rid of any residue that could have bacteria to cause you to be sick. Clean all surfaces before and after cooking, so countertops, cutting boards, utensils, plates, all of those things need to make sure they're very clean. And don't wash raw meat. When you wash raw meat, the splatter of the water can contaminate other foods around. It spreads bacteria throughout your sink, throughout the counter close to it, any foods that might be around it as well. So you don't want to wash the meat before you cook it. Separate is the second one. So this is helping prevent cross-contamination. So you're keeping things separate so that bacteria is not transferred from one food to another. So you would want to use separate cutting boards, one for meat, one for vegetables. If you're making a salad, you don't want to cut your vegetables for your salad on the same cutting board that you cut your meat. The meat will be cooked and could kill the bacteria, but the vegetables for the salad would not. And so if the bacteria is transferred to those vegetables, it can make you sick. Same thing for plates. If you take your hamburgers out to the grill on one plate, you need to have a clean plate to bring the cooked ones back in. Utensils, knives, anything like that, turners that you're using needs to be clean or cleaned between the raw food and the cooked food. Place raw meat in bags at the grocery store. This helps prevent contamination to the rest of your grocery cart. And the next one is cook. The big thing is making sure that you have a meat thermometer and you know how to use it. It should be put in the thickest part of the meat to make sure your food is completely cooked. And know the proper internal temperatures of how high the temperature should be to make sure that it is safe for consumption. And we've talked about that in class some as well. Keep hot foods hot while serving. So if you're having a party, having friends over, it's holidays, you want to make sure that you keep the hot foods hot. Crock pots are nice, something to keep the temperature high while people are eating. And when you're using the microwave to reheat leftovers or cook foods, you should stir halfway through because a microwave doesn't heat evenly, so you can have cold spots where bacteria can hide. So if you stir, it helps to have a more even heating of the food and helps kill the bacteria. You shouldn't partially cook foods and then set them aside and finish cooking later. Meat shouldn't be cooked part of the way and then put in the fridge for later. You want to cook the whole way, and then if you're not going to eat it till later, then you'll rewarm it. Chill. You want to set your refrigerator to 40 degrees or less to make sure that it's at the optimal temperature so bacteria growth does not happen in the foods that are in your fridge. Freezer temperature should be set to 0 or below. Perishable food should never be left out for more than 2 hours. So if you have leftovers after a meal, the sooner the better, put those in the refrigerator, because sitting at room temperature is in that danger zone where bacteria really likes to grow. Also, if you're going grocery shopping, you want to go to the grocery store last. Make sure that you can get home within 2 hours to put those foods back in the fridge or freezer. If it's summertime, you might want to take a cooler so that you can make sure that those foods stay cold on the way home, especially when it's really, really hot outside. To thaw food, you take it out of the freezer. To thaw it, you can either use the microwave, it'd be very quick, but as soon as you're done thawing it, you would need to cook it. You can put it in the refrigerator. It takes a while, but it's, again, keeping it at that right safe temperature range. Or you can put it in cold water. If you need a little bit faster, you can fill the sink with cold water, put it in a bag and submerge it in the cold water. You do need to keep changing the water so that it stays cold. Cold water will, again, keep it in the right temperature range to help prevent bacteria growth. And keep cold foods cold while serving, especially, again, during the summer months where it's really hot. If you have friends over, you have a holiday event, parties, keep your cold foods cold. Find a way to put ice around them to keep them cold, or put them back in the fridge as soon as possible so that, again, they don't sit out at that danger zone temperature range. And don't refreeze foods once they're thawed. So if you thaw the food and you're not going to use it in time, you really need to cook it, and then you could freeze it, but you can't refreeze raw meat. If you go to the grocery store and you're buying food and you see that it's partially thawed and your plan was to put it in the freezer, get one that has not been frozen previously. If you have any questions, please let me know. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you guys later.